Well, that attempt on Donald Trump's life has had a major impact on the election campaign. Let's get more on this with Stephen Okun. He's a political analyst and was also a staffer in former US President Bill Clinton's administration. He joins us today from Singapore. Stephen, with this latest round of senior endorsements that we're seeing for Kamala Harris, we're seeing remarkable unity in the Democratic Party. I know she's never been seen as a particularly strong candidate. So is this about party discipline, or are fears of the Democratic Party being seen as chaotic taking precedence over having an open process?
Look, one, there is excitement around Vice President Harris, but two, nobody unifies the Democratic Party like Donald Trump does. Nobody in the Democratic Party wants to see Donald Trump get a second term. And so really, it is pretty surprising in a way that the party unified so quickly and so thoroughly behind Vice President Harris. There had been talk, in the lead up to President Biden making that decision to withdraw, that there would be some type of open process. There'd be town halls. There'd be some speeches at a convention amongst multiple candidates. That's all over. It happened remarkably fast. And that's in large part for two reasons: Vice President Harris, one, and equally Donald Trump, number two.
You've said that it's essentially a done deal. I mean, the process itself also needs to seem legitimate, doesn't it? Given the way forward now, do you think that there will be any kind of a further process, or is it now done? Does Harris have it in the bag?
The vice president has it in the bag. Look, these were delegates. This is a Democratic Party process. And the Democratic Party, these delegates were pledged to Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. And so it's not like somebody new is coming in who they didn't think was part of the ticket to begin with. Sure. And so, look, there could have been, if people were not satisfied, and when I mean people, I mean the approximately 4,000 delegates who are going to vote at the convention in Chicago, if they really weren't satisfied, it wouldn't be done. They're satisfied, and they also recognize that the only way the Democratic Party is going to beat Donald Trump and a very unified Republican Party is to be equally unified. So it really came together seamlessly and faster than most people anticipated.
So is the convention now on August 16th, is that now going to be more about the vice presidential pick?
Well, sure, that'll be a part of it. And there's, very qualified names that you hear out there. I think the two to watch the most would be Governor Shapiro from Pennsylvania, Senator Kelly from Arizona, both swing states. The Democrats must win Pennsylvania. They would like to win Arizona, but Pennsylvania is almost the most important state for both the Democrats and the Republicans. Both are more moderate, is seen as moderates in the party, and that balances out, Vice President Harris. And so it works from a balance perspective. It works from a geographic perspective. And so either would be a good pick. And that's certain that she could go in another direction. There's another half dozen names that are out there. But it'll be in part about who she picks. But it's also going to be in part get the party together, get it unified, come out of Chicago with an energy to match, if not exceed, what the Republicans did when they came out of their convention in Milwaukee.
Well, speaking of the Republicans, I can't imagine the Trump campaign is particularly thrilled about this. How does this now shift Republican strategy going towards November?
Well, look, the Republicans and the Republican machine has been extraordinarily effective in saying Joe Biden was too old, he was senile, he was part of this Biden crime family. All of that work that they've been doing to demonize, in a way, and make seem incompetent President Biden, all that work's gone because that doesn't apply to Vice President Harris. Now, what the Republicans are going to try and do, and you see Vice presidential candidate J.D. Vance in particular doing, is tying Vice President Harris to President Biden when it comes to the issues of which they are not polling very well, where they don't have a lot of support. Immigration, number one, inflation in the economy, a co-number one or a number two. And so they're going to try and make this a referendum on President Biden's first term. And what Vice President Harris is going to do, and can do more effectively than what President Biden was trying to do, is make this a referendum on Donald Trump. And do you want 4 more years of what we had from 2016 to 2020? So it's a battle of narratives, and President Biden was not as capable of winning that battle to control the narrative as Vice President Harris is. And that's where we come to right now. And it's why you see the Republicans trying so hard to tie Vice President Harris to President Biden.
Well, certainly some very exciting political days ahead of us. Stephen Okun, their political analyst and a former staffer in the Clinton administration. Thank you so much for sharing your insights with us on Al Jazeera, Stephen.
Thank you.